Video you're about to see is about grief. It's two individuals who share how they're handling grief in their life. But the contrast is one of them, their loved one died 10 years ago. The other one recently passed a little bit over a month ago. We have our daughter Rachel, who shares how she is healed and how she's dealt with the grief of losing her brother Eric over 10 years ago to overdose. Emily shares her story about her cousin Brady, who is more like a brother-sister relationship. Now I want to make it clear, Brady did not pass from any substance use or anything like that. But the key here is I'm comparing somebody who has dealt with this for over 10 years and Emily, who is now walking into this state of grief. And hopefully what they share will help you if you're new into this journey or if you're stuck on this journey over a long period of time. So stay tuned and listen to Emily and Rachel and let them share what they've learned and how they're going to go about handling grief in their life. Thank you. Hello, I'm Gary Schaefer, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk about grief. And we have Emily, who you've seen on previous YouTube videos I have, and our daughter Rachel. What I'm going to do is talk to both of them about comparing grief at different stages. Our son Eric has been gone for over 10 years, so Rachel is going to talk from a long term what she has transpired through. And Emily recently had a very close cousin, you could call a brother, who passed a couple months ago.
Yeah, 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we keep track of those
keep
days
track.
when it's newly happened to us. So what I'm going to ask you both is, tell us a little bit about Brady, and later we'll ask Rachel about Eric.
Brady was a cool dude. He was something else. He was only 28 when he passed. We believe that he passed from a medical event in his sleep, very peaceful. But Brady was loved by so many people, and we knew that before he died, but we learned about how many people loved him after. Brady was a writer. He was a sport fanatic. His family was his everything. So I'm the oldest cousin in our family on that side, and Brady is the second oldest. So right before I turned 4, Brady was born.
Okay.
So Brady was my first cousin. He was my first friend. Like we've grown up together, and then we kind of helped. I don't know if you would say help raise the younger cousins, but we were just, we kind of led.
You were a only, I say you are a only child.
I'm an only child,
that really,
so yep.
You really connect closer because you don't have that immediate brother or sister in your life.
And he was that first, for me, and so we were just connected, and we just had that special bond. And I mean, if you were to ask other people what they would say about Brady, it would be very similar things. He loved hard. He worked hard. He's just a good guy.
Well, when Marlene and I attended his funeral, we realized, for one, how many people were there.
Yeah.
And secondly, the people who came up and spoke, I mean, he was really quite an amazing person once we heard people talk about him.
Yeah, you really get to know Brady through the words of others.
Yeah.
And our whole family and, expanding out to his friends are trying to, what we say, live more like Brady or live Brady's way, because he would just reach out to people that he, didn't see regularly or that he lost contact with. He'd check in on them, and we didn't know that until after he died, and people started telling us these stories. And everything was consistent. It's not like people are just saying the kind things because somebody passed away.
Right.
Like there's, the consistency with it, and so that's who Brady genuinely was.
And that's when Eric, when he died in the funeral, some of the friends spoke about some of the things he did that we were never aware of, and it is quite amazing.
Yeah.
Now, let Rachel share on Eric, who we know passed because of my previous videos, overdose. But I want to make clear, Brady had nothing to do
Yes.
with a substance use at all.
No,
It was a
it was
medical,
a medical
condition.
event. Yep,
Yes.
and something in his sleep.
Yep. So tell us about your lovely brother Eric and our son.
Yes. If I had to describe Eric, he was goofy. He was kind. He definitely had a really big heart. I think one of the biggest hearts of anybody I've ever known. I don't think I wouldn't say he had many friends, but the friends that he had, like he was a amazing friend to those friends. You know, like if you were lucky enough to be one of Eric's friends, like you had a solid friend who would do anything for you. So I think that's where, you know, he had that small core group of people, you know, especially like at the funeral, like, you know, and even his close friends now are still like, you know, devastated over him being gone because that's just the type of friend he was. I mean, growing up, I think I would say, because, you know, he was older than me. So we have a older brother, Keith, and then Eric was in the middle. So he, I think, always was, I mean, a little, I would say immature, you know, he was goofy. And so me and him, you know, I was the baby sister. So we would just find ourselves playing together a lot because I think he had that kind of goofy side to him. So we would play store and we would, you know, just kind of do our own little things, play house and, you know, all that type of stuff that Keith probably was like, okay, no. I'm not doing that.
Keith was a few years older, a couple.
Yeah, so he was
like,
4 older than
I'm not
me.
gonna play store, you know.
Yeah, but I could convince Eric to, you know, to play with me, and he would do it. He loved to cook, music. You know, those were his things. I was not good at cooking, but I mean, he would always. I'd ask him to make me breakfast, and he'd make like some gourmet omelet, and I would be like, I could have just done scrambled eggs, I'd be fine. But so he loved that. Yeah, he's just all around, like I said, kind of just a cool person to know if you know if you were one of the lucky ones who really got to know him.
Right.
So.
And you both of them died from a sudden death. Although Eric's a little bit different because we know what he was going through. But for you guys, you had no idea at all about this coming onto you. So it may be difficult, but what was it like getting that initial impact?
Shocking. I still have not quite processed. I do have my heavier days with grief, and today being actually one of them. But I remember I got a phone call, and my mom, because we had a normal day. It was a Monday, normal day, went to work, you know, came home, got a phone call, and my mom said, hey, you need to come over right now. I'm like, that's not normal, right? And so we hung up, and she accidentally called me back, and I heard other family members there, and
You're like, why are all these people
I'm like,
here?
what's going on? So I'm in the car, I'm driving to my mom's, and I call her. I'm like, what's going on? Like, you know, I'm trying to figure this out because my head's just got so many ideas.
Spinning, yeah.
And I said, who's all there? And she listed off everybody who was there, and I said, and she didn't say Brady's name. I said, where is Brady? Like, I think I knew in that moment that he was gone. I didn't know what from or like, but I knew because if it was a car accident or something more minor, I can be told over the phone.
Right.
And so I get to my mom's, and my Aunt Mary, Brady's mom, comes out, and my mom was trailing her. And we actually just had this conversation a couple days ago. My aunt told me, she said, Brady's gone. And I said, what do you mean?
The word gone is
and those words shouldn't be in a sentence. And my mom was telling me just a couple days ago, she goes, I was watching and you were white. I'm already pale, okay? And she was like, you were white. And so hearing that perspective from somebody else, like what I physically looked like, kind of says a lot to me. And I walked in the house, and my cousins were there, and you know, I learned more details, and it just like guts you. It's like he's fine. You guys just had dinner with him last night.
Yeah.
He was fine, like he was okay. And now, what do you mean he's gone? It's like I've said to so many people over and over, it's like I'm trying to jam two puzzle pieces together that don't fit because they're not supposed to go together.
Yes.
So it's just unreal. and it still doesn't make sense to me at all.
It doesn't. It's very difficult because that person's not there anymore,
Yeah.
and it's really, really hard.
Yeah, I
Really
haven't
hard.
known a life without Brady.
Yeah.
You know, like, even if we didn't talk every day, he was still on Earth. He was still he was still
Yeah.
living his life. He was still, he was still part of our world physically.
Right.
And now to like it doesn't make sense,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
and I don't think it will, for either ever or for a very long time.
Mm-hmm.
Your life is forever changed,
Yeah.
and I've read and did different things. It says you have to keep on living, and it's hard to say that for you so early in your grief process, but you continue living, but you always remember them, and that's going to be kind of where your life is going to be. Now, Rachel, we knew what Eric struggled with, but he was doing so good.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like for you when, because from what I recall, I called you.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had been texting Eric in the morning, but he didn't respond to my text. And I said, "Oh, he must be in bed sleeping because he works late and that type of deal." Marlene called me and said, she said, "Prepare yourself," and I knew right then and there because I could hear people in the background. And then I called you to go to the house, right?
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, because you said, I always kind of in the back of my head, over the years knew, like, I think just something in my gut knew, like, one day I was going to get that call. He was doing, good for over 2 years. But I still, and me and Eric had the type of relationship where, like, he could tell when I would sense that he was acting a little different, and he would text me.
Yeah.
And he'd say, "Listen, I can tell you're worried about me," like, because I could sense something was going to happen. And it kind of was like that in that instance, probably like a couple weeks before. I heard something through someone else, and I had just a little gut feeling some things were going to turn. And like, I still obviously have his thread of text messages. So I had a feeling something was going to change. But yeah, that day, I remember I was leaving a work event, and you called me, and you were like, sit down, or, something about, like, don't be driving or something. I was like, well, too late. I'm driving right now. Like, what are you telling me? And then I just remember, kind of saying that he was unresponsive, and you didn't really know what was happening yet. But so I did come home, and I kind of I knew on the drive home, like, it was just a different feeling. I just knew. But
I was in Lansing, which is about an hour and a half away for those of you who don't know Michigan. I pretty much knew on the way home that he was gone.
Yeah. So it was still, I mean, even though it's something that is likely to happen, it's still kind of like the same, reaction. Obviously, just numb fog. Like, it's just weird to think they're not here anymore.
Right.
I mean, even now, honestly, 10 years later, it's still
Well,
weird to think that.
Let me ask this. I've heard the term how you measure your grief that you're getting. When it initially happens, your mind and yourself, you're in a fog, and you're still in that fog right now. I'm sure, where some people won't even get out of the house. In fact, I was talking to a person the other day whose child died, and she said, for 2 years, I had a hard time getting out of bed. And so she really struggled. But they talk about the fog, and you just can't function really at all. Then you go into a point where it's a cloudy day. You can go out, you can do things, but it's painful, but it's difficult, but you can get through it. And I think that was for me because I went back to work after 2 weeks. So, I was trying to work through it. In fact, actually at work I told them, because I could tell they were walking on eggshells around me. I said, "You don't need to walk on eggshells around me." I says, "It's okay, just continue. If you need to say something to me that's negative, don't worry, say it, But then after that cloudy day, then you get days where the sun comes through, so you have happy moments. And then eventually it's mostly sunny days. Yeah, you'll have clouds come in where you feel it, where I feel it. I have days where, I miss him and I think about him. Is that kind of like the path that you've been on for the 10 years?
Yeah,
Kind of like
I mean, I was,
progressing as time went, it started to get, well, you got children now and that,
yeah,
but
yeah.
still you're functioning more in life than what you probably did when he first died.
Yeah, and I think it's just weird. I mean, I think too, when he first passed, like, I was at a point in my life where, like, just like a lot of things in my personal life were starting to happen. Like, I was dating my now husband for like a little over a year. So, like, we were looking to like move in together. And, like, so just a lot of stuff in my personal life kind of helped me to keep, moving along. So it definitely did help that I had people, him and just other people to lean
Yeah.
on, which is important. But I think like some people obviously their time frame to see the partly cloudy from
Right.
just
Yeah.
cloud. I mean, some people could be 2 years.
Oh
Some
yeah.
people could, like you said, 2 weeks, and like you're. So I think the important part is just still trying to get to that point.
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know, I mean, even now there's days, especially like on his 10-year anniversary. That was kind of a day where like, and I kind of pre-warned my husband, like I'm like just in a little funk today, like. So in case, I seem a little off, and he's like, he obviously gets it because those days for me don't come as often.
Yeah.
But
They still
but
creep
yeah,
in.
but there's still certain days where it's just like, it's always gonna suck. I mean, it's
Mhm.
not gonna that feeling's never gonna go
Right.
away, unfortunately.
Now you're a social worker therapist,
Mhm.
but it's not necessarily for grief, correct?
Right.
Right. So do you think there's some type of correlation or tie between your work and what you're going through now?
I th- I think it depends on the day for me. Long term, yes, because it gives me a lot of experience and insight to help me relate to clients.
Because of what
Mhm.
you're going
Yeah,
through.
yeah, so and just it the experience just opens up a lot for you. Um, you don't necessarily understand everything that maybe somebody else is going through with their grief, but you understand in your own way and know that it's different for everybody because
Right.
you've dealt with it yourself and you know how crazy and chaotic the grief can be. And so being able to understand that, it's like it lets you just help somebody understand that there's really no timeline, there's no right way to grieve, there's like you don't know what each day is going to bring. It gives you a little softness for them.
Right.
So
There is no timeline, and
right.
I agree with that. But I
Mhm.
do believe that you have to keep moving forward. You can't get stuck.
Mhm.
And I think we talked about that with Rachel,
Mhm.
therapist that
Yeah.
we had here for grief.
Mhm.
Yes, you got your own timeline of what you're going through for your grief, but you don't want to allow yourself to stay in the fog and not
Mhm.
someday progress on to
Mhm.
that next step.
Mhm.
Um,
Speaking of that, I wanted to share. So randomly the other day, I found this quote on LinkedIn.
Mhm.
So I just want to share because it kind of says that. It says, "Grief may make an appearance today. It's your heart's honoring someone or something you love. Be gentle and kind to yourself. This is part of the healing."
Mm-hmm.
So it's just kind of,
yeah,
that's that's good that you're feeling that way, but it
Yeah.
doesn't mean you need to stay stuck in it forever.
Mhm.
It's gonna
well,
come and go.
in my book, I copied one of your blogs where, paraphrasing it, is grief is like a wave. It
Mhm.
ebbs and it flows.
Mhm.
All you can do is learn to swim.
Mhm.
And it's
Some
figure
some
out.
days it's a tsunami.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
You
You're
know.
you're in that right now.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Mhm.
And other days it's just like, little waves.
Yep.
But,
Yeah.
Yep. Now, Rachel, you have a very strong support group
mhm.
to help you work through this grief. Do you have any plans, like how you want to go about it, or just kind of let it flow?
I'm just letting it flow because every single day looks different
Mhm.
Yep.
and every day looks different for my family and, Brady's friends, like and Shane's friends. Shane is Brady's brother.
Yeah.
We're all experiencing the grief on different levels, on different, and
Mhm.
so I'm just letting it flow. Like whatever the day brings. Like if I'm having an okay day, I'm feeling okay, and somebody else is like, I am not okay, I'm like, I got you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And vice versa.
Mhm.
And you let the tears flow when the tears want to flow.
They don't let me not, like my tears will come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really give me a choice, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, there's internal and external grieving. people who keep it in, that's mostly us guys, the internal, right? And the external is more for the women. And there is also a blend, a mixture of the two. I think you are both externals. You've posted all type of stuff
Yeah.
on Facebook and social media, and I've seen you posting stuff. You even got a special tattoo, like Rachel has a
Yeah.
special
Yeah.
tattoo.
Yep.
I think that's pretty neat. Do you want to share yours?
Yeah. So something that Brady was known for was his hugs. And honestly, I didn't even think about that until he was gone, because I was
Yeah.
looking through photos and I'm like, oh my gosh. And Brady was just a tall dude. Like, he was a big guy. So when he hugged you, like, you like disappeared into his hug. And I saw so many pictures of us just like growing up throughout the years of like just these giant bear hugs.
Yeah.
So I found one of my favorites and I had an artist just like create an outline and I got it done and it's right under the tattoo that I got for his dad.
There you go.
And
For
it's
those who
just-
don't know, his dad passed when
his
he
dad,
was 10.
yes, Brady was
Yeah.
10 when his dad passed.
Yeah.
hmm
And you got a tattoo.
I
that-
did, yeah. So when I turned 18, actually, Eric had quite a few tattoos.
Yes, he did.
Big on tattoos, so I wanted one. So when I turned 18, he got me my first one on my foot, which was a cross with a rose. And then I always called him my hero, throughout his struggling years of him recovering and all that, because I don't think I could have done it at all. So I always looked up to him. And then, so after he passed, and we have this whole thing with Here Comes the Sun, I got the sun in the background, and then I got my angel hero on my foot. Since now he's my
Yeah.
angel. So.
You also have one of his tokens from AA, right?
I do. Yeah, he actually, God, years. I think it was when he had his first, where he got his year sobriety. I actually have it on my like vanity, just in a little thing where I put my rings at night and stuff. I have it on there. Yeah.
Eric was in a halfway house in Maryland, and this is early. She was probably not even, you were probably 16, 17
Yeah, I think
maybe?
I was ninth grade-ish.
So we went down there to visit him, and she brought him a stuffed dog as a gift.
Yeah, I thought that was a good idea.
And he said, I love it, but I can't keep this with all the guys.
Yeah, I gave him a stuffed animal, but now my son has it.
But now,
So,
yeah.
It's his Uncle Eric dog, and
Yeah.
he has
But
it
you
everywhere.
two
But yeah,
made a blanket together, you and Eric. When you get
The
the
fleece
blanket
ones.
and the fleece and you tie the ends, and they did that. So it was a very nice, loving visit between brother,
Yeah.
sister. Yeah. I was going to ask you something else and it slipped my mind, but I'm going to go back there. Do you monitor your healing at all, or you just kind of let it go now?
just the same. I just kind of let it go. I mean, I think about him all the time. I mean, we talk about him. So, I mean, I kind of just let it go. And if, like I said, there's still some days. I feel like I don't cry as much as I used to, but there's still, I mean, sometimes I randomly will, or I just feel cruddy, sometimes just thinking like, oh man, why can't he be here? Or this isn't really fair, that he can't get to see his nephews and his niece and, that type of stuff. But, so, it still comes and goes.
The neat thing is, Eric being a chef, Marlene takes them for a cooking class when they're 7 years old, because you have to be 7 years old to go to it. The oldest one, she took him a few years ago. Well, the next one to reach 7 was Rachel's son, Grady.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you just did
they
that.
went there and made a calzone or
Yeah, some type of pizza. Yeah,
pizza.
calzone.
Yeah. So yeah.
And he loves cooking, which my husband loves to cook, and so
Yeah.
that's what I love too. We have a lot of Eric's old pots and pans, so my
We
husband
handed
uses
those out,
them,
yeah.
and my son likes to cook and do gardening, all like Eric and my husband. So it's nice because that reminds me of him too, watching them do all that. So
Right. Now, Brady being the big sports fan, especially a Tiger fan, you got your shirt on.
Yep.
Do you want to share what happened to a Tiger ball game?
Yeah, so Brady, this kid loved sports, and he was a diehard Tigers fan. So, a big group of us, like a large part of our family, and probably like 20 or so of Brady and Shane's friends, we honored Brady at a Tigers game a couple weeks ago, and Johnny Kane has interviewed my aunt and Brady and Shane, I think a couple times, because they would travel out of state to do an away Tigers game every year to honor their dad who had passed.
Right.
And for this game, for like a pre-show, they did a tribute to Brady, just kind of
Right.
honoring his life and his story. And then after the fifth inning, I believe it was, one of Brady's best friends from sixth grade, she's a sweetheart. And I think it was another one of their friends, were able to get a tribute up on the big screen.
Right.
It said
Right.
his name, it said Brady McAtamney. I believe it said Forever Tiger, watching from Heaven's Bleachers.
Right.
And that was just, it was such a beautiful moment to like have like all these family and friends that's just there for Brady, but it was also like, it's the bittersweet. It's like beautiful, but it's like, why are we here doing this?
But you are honoring him, and you're going through it, and that's part of
Yeah.
that grief process. And we should let them know that he was a writer for
Yes,
sports, so
yes.
that's why he was so
Yep.
involved with the Tigers also.
Yeah, and so it was a lot of people in the stands were like, wait, why are all these people crying? We're at a
They
baseball
saw
game.
this big group, and
Yeah.
it's all, and this
Yeah.
whole group is crying.
But it
Yep.
was great to honor him that way because that was Brady's favorite place.
Yeah.
And it was tough for a lot of us to walk in just because that was the first time there without Brady.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's just all these firsts that we're experiencing are really, really difficult. Really difficult.
Well, they say you have to prepare yourself for the first
Yeah.
things. You have to prepare yourself for the birthday after his death or the anniversary of his death. For us, on the anniversary and so forth, we get together. Well, on his anniversary of his death, we don't get together like we used to, but we still make it a special day amongst each family. But on his birthday, we have a birthday party for him. Yeah.
That's so fun.
We got a cake and
Yeah.
all his favorite foods. Yep. So, celebrate that. Holidays. Someone mentioned, what do you want to do to remember him? What we do is we have a candle that's in a special globe, and we light that, and that's for his presence at our family function. So there's a lot of ideas that you guys can do once you get to a point of what are we going to do on his birthday or anniversary of his death or whatever it may be. But you have to prepare yourself for those days, because for me, not as much as it used to, but before the anniversary of his death and his birthday, I kind of go into a funky mood. I'm kind of off balance a little bit for a period of time. So it's just something you get used to and you work on through it. And Rachel, you talked about what helped you through Eric's death over time. You just made sure you were progressing and continuing in life.
Yeah, I think, I mean, a big part too is like, just like you said, not really like having, like being afraid to talk about it, or like, I remember like shortly after he passed, like I was worried about, even at that point, I was just starting to, I mean, me and Sean were dating for like a year, but even like my close friends, it's like, I was worried they were going to be like uncomfortable around me, and be like, oh my gosh, like, I don't even, like her brother just died. What am I supposed to possibly say to her, So I think just trying, like, not making things like that, and just talking about them so other people are comfortable talking about them, and just making people aware, like, yeah, it's happened, but, I'm not broken, like, I still laugh, I still am happy sometimes, I'm still, like, I still have a life to live, but yeah, sometimes, but this obviously did, affect me, and, but, you're still gonna have the good things too, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
We talk about God winks, and that's, I talk a lot of that in my book about things that have happened, and we have a special song for Eric, Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles, and it's amazing when that song goes up, and we have different things like that. And Rachel, I know you've had quite a few winks. haven't
Yeah.
you? Would you like to share one of them?
I think well, one of like the biggest and most obvious ones in my life that was from Eric was when me and Sean we went on a trip. It was like a week, just kind of Mackinac City, and then we went to Mackinac for a night, and he just had this whole little like road trip planned, and we were camping in Mackinac City, and we had like a little fire, and we were just sitting outside, and I had one of my little moments where I was sad and crying and whatnot, and the next morning, I remember when we were going to bed that night, Sean's like, I want to wake up early and go because we were right by the water. He's like, I want to go to the water and see if, we can see the sunrise. And I was like, okay, sure. So we woke up early. The next morning, we went out there, and I mean, it was just fully clouds. Like, it was just a crappy morning. And you could even see, like, off in the distance, by the lake that it was raining. Mm. So we sat there for like 15 minutes, and I'm like, okay, like, let's go back and make breakfast. This is not happening, It was a nice thought, but and he's like, no, just wait a few more minutes. I think it's going to happen. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I was like, well, if it happens, if it comes out, I'm going to run to the shore, take a picture, because it's not going to last long. So he was like, okay. So a couple minutes later, like I have a picture of it, and just out of like, it's all clouds, like just gray. And then all of a sudden there's like the sun just beaming out. So I ran there, took a picture. And then when I got back, he got on his knee, and, he's like, I just got your brother's permission. And he asked me to marry him. And then come to find out later, he told me, he's like, the night before when we were at, having the fire, I told, I kind of said to him up there, if you show the sun tomorrow, like the plan, I'll know that, I have your approval, and I'll ask her. So, I mean, that's like one that I can't deny. I mean, there's so many others that just, involving my kids or just, it's the things that will happen over the next several years.
Yeah, he makes
Are
himself
going to be
known.
wild.
That's so.
So that's good to look forward to.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Our family's had quite a bit of death, and so our family looks for signs all the time, and we, not even when we're looking, we just see them, and so it's comforting,
Yeah.
And I love
Any
that story.
special one you'd like to share, or no?
Oh my gosh, how much time do we have?
I thought the one when they took the trip to Philadelphia.
Yeah, so on their most recent trip, which was just a weekend or so ago, so my aunt and Shane were really struggling. They're like, do we go? This is our first trip without Brady.
Because they went every year.
Because they went every
road.
year,
Yeah.
to honor their dad. And they're like, yes, we have to go. Like, Brady's up there saying, why aren't you guys going? That's
Right.
crazy. And so they went, and there were so many things. But one of the more significant ones was that, there's the first pitch. And up on the screen is this kid. He's getting ready to throw the first pitch, and he's got a jersey on, and the name on the jersey is Brady.
That is wild.
And then a little while later, they were honoring that family's like hometown heroes or something. And this kid's mom was right by where my aunt and cousin were
really?
sitting. And she happens to turn, and literally my aunt said she could have touched her. She turns her back, and just the name Brady, just right in front of her.
I'm surprised Mary held it together.
Oh, she probably didn't.
She didn't.
She probably didn't. She probably lost it at like some of those at least. But I mean, there's just so many, and my aunt would tell me something about, something that happened to her a couple days ago, and then a couple days later, the same thing happens to me. Or
it is amazing. When I share story, when I ask people if they know about God winks, actually some people go, I don't know what you're talking about, and I have to explain it to them, and they really, I'm guess. Well, the only reason we learned was because Rachel gave us a book. When God winks at you.
Yeah, I think I don't remember where I saw that at. I mean, shortly after he passed, I saw it somewhere and bought it. I don't remember where.
It was after.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, we are going to close this and thank Emily and Rachel for sharing their stories, and hope for what we share. If you're new into the grief process, or it's been 8 or 10 years, I hope what they've shared will help you move forward and continue living, but remember the loved one that you lost. Thank you for your time.